Twitter battle over Conor McGregor's GOAT comments prompts Jon Jones-Nate Diaz exchange. Recently, Conor McGregor drew fire online for claiming he's closing in on becoming the greatest fighter of all time, and that exchange has led to Jon Jones and Nate Diaz trading verbal shots. Not long ago, McGregor raised eyebrows throughout the game by arguing he's already number 2 in the GOAT conversation, if not tied with Anderson Silva for the number 1 spot. In a series of tweets McGregor shared out on his GOAT rankings, the former champ said this: "The array of finishes across 2 divisions with champion status in 1, Anderson Silva is number 1 MMA GOAT. My array of finishes across 3 divisions with champion status in 2, I'm number 2, if not tied 1. However, still active, number 1 is fully secured by career end, and easily. GSP is in at 3, much less array of finishes, but champion status in 2. He is far behind though. Reasons equal, left 170 after much damage taken plus questionable decision. Never re-engaged 170-pound successors, bottled Anderson Silva fight. Only moved when one-eyed fighter presented. Played safe. John is 4, maybe tied 3. More array of finishes than 3 and still active, but champion status in just 1. Reasons equal multiple lackluster decision performances plus questionable decision win, attempting to safe play heavyweight entry / avoiding its champion. I didn't mention PED results on multiple entrants, even though that makes me the clear current number 1 MMA GOAT, along with still being active. Although it shames as well as puts all runs plus finishes in complete doubt, I've snored multiple juice heads. A true GOAT must do it all." Well, not surprisingly, several fighters responded to McGregor, including Nate Diaz, who has gone 1-1 with McGregor to date. The Stockton Star tweeted out this: "Smoke the number 1 pound for pound and double champ, know the real GOAT when you see him. And don't forget, I did it better and quicker than anyone else on the ground and sent him down with punches quicker than Mayweather did. So y'all rankings and know a real GOAT when you see me." Well, evidently, Diaz's claim that he's the GOAT didn't sit well with Jones, as he responded with this on Instagram: "Now this guy's the GOAT? This is just starting to get ridiculous." And what was Diaz's response? He followed up with this zinger while alluding to Jones's PED suspension via a syringe emoji: "No one's gonna remember your fights." It's also worth noting that Jones also fired back at McGregor and cited the fact the former champ has yet to successfully defend a UFC title. He also posted an image which shows fighters who have recorded the most wins in UFC title fights, and McGregor didn't make the list. Bones, however, is leading the way with 14. So what's your take on all this? Is McGregor way off base with his GOAT comments? And what about Diaz? Do you think Jones has the most legitimate claim to be the GOAT? Darren Till takes poke at Mike Perry's failed marriage in responding to outspoken fighter. We probably won't see Darren Till and Mike Perry throw hands anytime soon, at least in the cage anyways. But the fighters appear to have a serious beef going on. When Till was making his way up the UFC's welterweight ranks, he and Perry traded verbal shots about fighting. But at the time, the two weren't rivals. In fact, the two ended up spending time together and doing some sparring. But fast forward to today, and tensions between the fighters have ratcheted way up. The two have traded verbal shots through social media, and during a recent interview with MMA Junkie, Perry said this about the British fighter, as well as his mom of all people.
But yeah, going in there and fighting with no
Till's mom too. Darren Till. I want to fight Darren Till. I want to fight him, and I want to jump out the cage like Khabib did and jump kick his mom in the face.
I thought you guys were cool after the spa.
Perry didn't stop there, however, as he proceeded to go off the rails with a rant that reportedly included homophobic slurs.
He's a and there's nothing wrong with being a unless you just like to suck. That's cool. He likes to suck. That's why he wanted to go to the excuse my language if that's terrible, but I hate I don't like when people say certain things. I have.
And what about those sparring sessions? Well, according to Perry, he got the better of the renowned striker big time.
Hard that one time. He has some heavy hips, so I'll tell him that, because he's a fat piece of so his hips were heavy and his feet were glued to the floor. But I busted his eye up and I 20 times. I hit him with a couple combinations, little pity pats to the face. He was so easy to hit. It's like he was a statue standing still, and I was just dancing around him. And then he tried to shoot on me, and I kneed him in the eye, and he was bleeding. That little picture that we took.
So what did Till have to say? Well, reportedly, the Brit shared a meme that showed Perry with his now apparently ex-wife, as well as his new girlfriend. The meme compared Perry's new relationship with 2020 as in not a good thing, which is a theme that's been making the rounds on account of the coronavirus pandemic. But could we see these two finally settle their differences in the cage? It seems unlikely right now, as Till's sitting at the top of a middleweight division and Perry's lost 3 of his last 4 fights. Even Platinum himself acknowledged that he may not get a shot at Till, but that doesn't change the fact he's willing to fight the former welterweight at middleweight.
It doesn't line up as well, because I'm 185 pounds right now, but if he wants to cut weight to 185, I'll fight his ass at 185. I'll try to put a couple pounds on, and I'll be faster than him, and he'll be a fat.
Colby Covington claims UFC didn't want to give washed-up Tyron Woodley the fight with Chaos. Tyron Woodley campaigned hard in recent weeks for a fight with Colby Covington and claimed Chaos was asking for too much money before agreeing to fight Gilbert Burns. But according to Covington, Woodley doesn't really want to face the former interim welterweight champ. Woodley and Covington have been feuding through the media and online for a couple of years now, but to date the former teammates have yet to battle in the cage. More recently, after a planned fight between Leon Edwards and Tyron Woodley fell through in March due to the coronavirus pandemic, Woodley drove for a fight with Covington. Chaos also said he was down to fight, but Woodley claimed the controversial welterweight was asking for a multi-million-dollar payday. Ultimately, Woodley was signed to fight Burns, and he'll throw hands with the former lightweight on May 30th. While recently Covington spoke with MMA Fighting, not surprisingly, Covington denied that he had anything to do with the bout not happening. Instead, he said the UFC and the former champ are why the grudge match hasn't been greenlit.
You know, to be honest, Mike, the real reason we didn't get this fight is because the UFC didn't want to give him the fight. You know, the thing is his last fight, he looks so washed up, Mike. The UFC wants to see if he has anything left in the tank, you know, so they want to see if he can prove himself to earn the losing ass-whooping paycheck to me. So, you know, this is a test by the UFC that, you know, they're making him fight some kid named Dilbert. You know, no one even knows who Dilbert is. So, you know, we'll see if he passes that test and he can earn this whooping losing paycheck to me. But, you know, who knows, man? I mean, he's doing a lot of things out there. You know, he's trying to rap. I mean, he's hurting people's ears, dude. He's a freaking dork.
So what do you guys think? It seems pretty doubtful that the UFC was reluctant to have Woodley, one of the greatest welterweights ever, fight Covington next, right? After all, the UFC did have Woodley booked to fight Leon Edwards, who has been on a very impressive run. Further, when you consider who Woodley has fought over the years, it's hard to imagine that he's looking to duck Covington, especially since he's been so vocal about wanting to fight him. Covington didn't stop there, however. He also took poke at Woodley over this.
You know, it just sucks, you know, but he never wanted to fight me, man. I'm the first guy to ever scare the champion into elective surgery. Elective surgery, Mike. The guy was ready to fight Nate Diaz, some lightweight scrub wash-up, you know. We know he's the Stockton soy boy. He was ready to fight him, but he won't fight Colby Chaos Covington when I had the real welterweight championship, the People's Championship, America's Championship. More importantly, Donald Trump's favorite fighter.
So what do you guys think? If Woodley beats Burns, will we see him battle Covington at some juncture, or is someone really trying hard to avoid this matchup? Kamaru Usman's manager offers Conor McGregor title shot with champ, but there's a catch. Conor McGregor has been stirring the pot on Twitter recently, and of the many responses the stars received, one of them was an interesting proposal from Kamaru Usman's manager, Ali Abdelaziz. Recently, McGregor shared out a thread of tweets while making the case that he's marching down the #1 spot in the greatest of all-time fighter debate. According to McGregor, he's already #2, if not tied with the #1 ranked Anderson Silva. Well, those comments prompted Nate Diaz to tweet out a rebuttal, which he claimed he's the real GOAT. Those comments caught the attention of Jorge Masvidal, however, who responded to Diaz with this: "I beg to differ. Let's run it back." Masvidal is referencing his TKO win over Diaz, which went down at UFC 244 in November. The comments caught the eye of Usman's manager Ali Abdelaziz, as the expectation has been that Masvidal will challenge the welterweight champ next. Abdelaziz then proceeded to tweet out this jab at McGregor while referencing Masvidal's comments towards Diaz. it looks like the #1 contender wants to fight Nate Diaz now. Good for him, Conor McGregor. Hey, you want a title shot? Come to daddy. Kamaru Usman will give you one, and he promised first 2 rounds without takedowns, only slaps. Now, Abdelaziz pokes about no takedowns and slaps aside. Could this actually happen? Well, when it comes to McGregor, anything is possible on account of the fact he's still one of, if not the biggest name in the game. But does McGregor's team really want him moving up to face Usman at this juncture? A man who stylistically, most would agree, he doesn't match up well against, especially considering Usman's size and strength, and the fact McGregor was outgunned by the wrestling of Khabib Nurmagomedov. Or is it more realistic that McGregor might pursue a bout with Diaz or even Masvidal if a lightweight title shot is not happening anytime soon? What do you guys think?